Do not sleep in room 3. In the cedar dark of Nikko, an abandoned Ryokan squats behind a curtain of moss and mist, its paper lanterns long dead, its nameboard peeled down to bone. The mountain air tastes of wet cypress and old incense. Somewhere water drips with the patience of a clock that no longer keeps time. Locals say the inn closed after a night no one will date. That the tatami still remember the shape of the guests who lay upon them. They say a kettle boils by itself after midnight. That a shamisen plays 3 notes with no fingers to pluck its strings. And that in one chamber the sliding door refuses to open unless it wants you. That chamber is room 3. If you press your ear to its fusuma, you will hear breath on the other side, slow, shallow, practiced. If you slide the door an inch, steam will crawl over your feet as if the onsen were breathing you in. There is always a tea tray waiting on the low table, cups laced with a sweetness that turns to metal on the tongue. On the far wall hangs a mirror charred at the edges, and in it you will see someone sitting where you stand, wearing your clothes, blinking in your rhythm, smiling with a mouth you do not own. Do not sleep in room 3. People who check in there do not check out. Our protagonist is Haruto Mori, a 32-year-old travel vlogger who has built a modest following online by exploring hidden or forgotten places across Japan. By day, he is ordinary, a man with student loans, a camera borrowed from a cousin, and a part-time job editing videos for tourism agencies. By night, he turns into a seeker of urban legends, chasing the thrill of being the first to capture what others are too afraid to witness. It is autumn when Haruto arrives in Nikko, the mountain town famous for shrines and cedar forests. But Haruto is not there for temples. He is after something whispered in online forums, a Ryokan that closed in the 1980s. Where room 3 became infamous. Some say a fire started there, killing several guests, though no records exist. Others claim the owner's daughter vanished in that room. Her body never recovered. All agree on one thing: no one who spends the night there leaves unchanged. The path to the inn is treacherous, a road cracked with moss and littered with fallen branches. By dusk, Haruto reaches the building. Its roof sags, paper lanterns hang shredded, and vines choke the sliding doors. He films everything, narrating with forced cheer for his audience. Inside, the air is heavy with mildew. Tatami mats warped from years of rain leaking through the ceiling. Dust floats in the beam of his flashlight, swirling like restless spirits. The reception desk still holds an open guestbook. The final entries are dated decades ago. The handwriting shaky, the ink smeared as if written in panic. Haruto's voice wavers as he explains his plan to his camera: to stay overnight, to document room 3. He jokes nervously, saying maybe he'll finally capture something real. But beneath the laugh, his eyes betray unease. The silence inside the Ryokan feels absolute. Even the forest outside seems to hold its breath, as though waiting for him to slide open the wrong door. Haruto chooses room 3 almost theatrically, announcing to the camera that this is where the real story begins. The fusuma door slides open with a reluctant groan, revealing tatami mats discolored with water stains, a low table set in the center, and a futon folded neatly in the corner, as though housekeeping had prepared it just yesterday. At first, he treats it like a set. He pans his camera across the space, joking about checking in, but unease creeps in almost immediately. On the table sits a porcelain tea set. The cups are filled, not with dust or dead insects, but with warm tea, steam still curling into the air. Haruto touches one cup, and the porcelain burns his fingers. He recoils, the laughter in his throat faltering. He tries to rationalize. Maybe squatters left it, maybe another explorer staged it for effect. Yet the liquid inside tastes unmistakably bitter. Metallic, like rust diluted in water. He spits it out, wiping his mouth with his sleeve. As the night deepens, small sounds begin. The faint pluck of shamisen strings drifts through the paper-thin walls. Though no one else should be here, he checks the corridor with his flashlight, empty. Dust thick and undisturbed. Still, when he returns, the melody resumes, closer now, just beyond the fusuma. Later, while reviewing a short clip he recorded earlier. He freezes. The footage shows him entering the room alone, but in the reflection of the cracked mirror on the far wall. A second figure lingers, a woman in a white kimono, sitting at the low table, her face blurred as though smudged by ash. Haruto laughs nervously again, calling it a camera glitch. But when he lowers the lens, the mirror still reflects her, kneeling exactly where the futon rests. Watching him with a stillness that feels patient, the air grows colder, each breath spilling into mist. Haruto's joking tone fades as he mutters into the camera. I think, I'm not alone in room 3. The hours drag forward, but the clock on Haruto's phone refuses to move past 2:37 a.m. He checks the battery, shakes the device, even restarts it, yet the digits remain frozen, as if time itself has stalled inside room 3. The shamisen music grows sharper, no longer a gentle strum but discordant plucks that scrape against his nerves. Haruto yanks open the fusuma, expecting to catch someone in the hall. The corridor stretches impossibly long, lanterns flickering though he never saw them lit. He takes a step forward, chalks a mark on the doorframe with his pocketknife, then turns back seconds later, only to find the mark gone. Back inside, the tea set has changed. One cup is empty, its rim stained with a dark crimson smear. Haruto stares, hands trembling, insisting aloud for the camera. I didn't drink this. The futon, once folded neatly, is now laid out, indented as though someone has been lying there moments before. He rewinds his footage to reassure himself. The screen shows him alone in the room, but behind him, in frame after frame, the kimono-clad woman grows clearer. At first blurred, then sharper, until her burned cheek and hollow eyes glare through the lens. In the final clip, she is no longer seated at the table. She is standing directly behind him. Haruto jerks the camera away, spinning to face the room. Nothing, just the mirror, cracked and blackened at the edges. But in the glass, her reflection lingers, unmoving, even though he is alone. She tilts her head in the reflection, and a whisper bleeds from the corners of the room. Stay, check in forever. He rushes to the door, tugging it open. Instead of the corridor, he finds himself staring into room 3 again. The same tea set, the same futon, the same mirror. The Ryokan has folded onto itself, trapping him in a loop. Panic sets in. Haruto pounds on the walls, the camera tumbling to the tatami. His breath comes ragged, fogging the air, when the sliding doors rattle as though something outside is desperate to come in. Haruto forces himself to calm down, clutching the camera like a lifeline. He whispers into the lens, half for his viewers, half for himself. If I keep filming, at least someone will know what happened. He begins searching room 3 for clues. Behind a warped tatami mat, his fingers brush paper, an old diary, pages stuck together from mildew. The handwriting is hurried, desperate, entries scattered across several weeks. The guests are restless, they whisper in the halls after midnight. The fire started in room 3, but there was no smoke outside, only inside. My daughter, Yumi, hasn't come out. She keeps pouring tea for people I cannot see. The final page is splattered with what looks like ink, though it has dried into a dark, rusty brown. The last line trails into nothing. If anyone finds this, don't. Haruto's breath hitches. The story makes sense now. Why room 3 is the center of every rumor. The owner's daughter, Yumi, must have perished in that fire, trapped with the guests. Perhaps her spirit stayed behind, forever hosting visitors who never leave. As he speaks his theory aloud for the recording, the tea set rattles violently on the table. The cups shatter, spilling a red liquid that seeps across the tatami like veins. The mirror in the corner hums, vibrating as if struck by unseen hands. In the reflection, Haruto no longer sees himself. He sees the girl, Yumi, dressed in a once white kimono, the fabric scorched and blackened, her hair hanging wet around her face. She kneels before the table, pouring tea into cups that are already broken. And then she looks up, directly at him, not through the mirror, but through the lens of his camera. Her lips move silently, but the audio on his recording spikes with static. When it clears, a single word repeats over and over. Stay. Haruto stumbles back, clutching the diary. He realizes that every guest's name in the guest book downstairs must be more than a record. It is a death list. Each soul absorbed into the Ryokan, each trapped forever in room 3. The diary slips from Haruto's trembling hands, pages fanning across the tatami like wings of ash. The air in room 3 turns suffocatingly hot. Though no fire burns, the sliding doors slam shut on their own, trapping him inside. From the mirror, Yumi rises. Her body unfolds unnaturally, limbs jerking like a marionette tugged by invisible strings. Half her face is beautiful, porcelain pale. The other half is blistered and blackened, frozen in the agony of flame. Her eyes burn with a light that is not human. The tatami beneath Haruto buckles as charred hands push through. Dozens of them, grasping at his ankles, his wrists, tugging him toward the futon now spread wide like a grave. The camera tumbles sideways, capturing his screams, the tea spilling into rivers of crimson. Yumi kneels in front of him, her kimono smoldering at the edges, and sets the tea tray on his chest as though he were just another guest. Her voice is soft, sweet. Wrong. Drink. Stay. Forever. Haruto thrashes, but the spectral hands pin him down. He feels the scalding rim of a cup pressed against his lips. The liquid sears his tongue, filling his throat with the taste of rust and smoke. His vision blurs, and in the mirror he sees not Yumi, but himself, sitting calmly at the table, smiling, pouring tea for someone else. The last thing he hears is the shamisen, no longer discordant but steady, ritualistic, welcoming him into the Ryokan's eternal cycle. The mirror shatters, and darkness swallows the room whole. Morning comes to Nikko, crisp and bright, the cedar forest alive with birdsong. To hikers passing the mountain trail, the Ryokan is just another ruin, its windows black, its roof collapsing inward. But if anyone dares to slide open the doors, the air inside will be warm, as though a guest has only just checked out. Haruto is never seen again. His car remains at the trailhead, his belongings untouched, but his body is never recovered. Weeks later, explorers find his camera near the reception desk. The last file is corrupted, the image twisted by static, but one frame is clear. Room 3. Tea set arranged neatly, with Haruto sitting cross-legged at the table. His face is blurred, yet unmistakable, the shape of his jaw, the tilt of his head. Across from him sits Yumi, smiling faintly, as if welcoming a new friend. Online, the video circulates, fueling the legend. Viewers claim that if you pause at the right moment, Haruto looks directly into the lens and mouths a warning. Some swear the word is run. Others insist he says, stay. The Ryokan itself remains. Locals refuse to approach, saying the building seems to breathe at night, its lanterns glowing faintly though no fire burns within. Travelers who wandered too close report hearing shamisen notes drifting through the mist and the faint clink of porcelain cups. Room 3 is always waiting. Its futon is always laid out, and the guest book at the reception desk now bears one more entry. Haruto Mori, 1989 to 2023. Ghost stories are not only about spirits. They are mirrors, reflecting what the living refuse to face. The abandoned Ryokan in Nikko is more than a ruin swallowed by moss. It is a reminder that some wounds never heal, and some grief lingers so long it reshapes the walls around it. Yumi was never laid to rest. Her final moments, serving tea, waiting for guests who could not escape, play endlessly. Because no one acknowledged her suffering, the fire did not consume her memory, it preserved it, trapping her in an eternal ritual of hospitality turned horror. Haruto's fate is not just a punishment for curiosity. It is a warning. When we enter haunted places, we are stepping into someone else's unfinished story. And once a story claims you, it is almost impossible to leave. That is why the guest book never closes. Why names keep appearing even after decades of silence. Perhaps the true curse of Room 3 is not the ghost itself, but the temptation of the unknown, the allure of seeing what should stay hidden. Some doors stay shut for a reason. And some invitations are never meant to be accepted. So if you ever pass a decaying inn in the mountains of Nikko, its lanterns glowing faintly against the mist, remember this. Not every room is meant for you. And once your name is written inside, it will never be erased.